So we were looking at question and answers in 3D graphics. Now what is fields? What do you mean when we say fields in computer graphics? So fields are interlaced subframes in a video frame. There are two fields in each video frame. Field 1 is composed of all odd numbered scattered lines, that is the row of pixels. And field 2 is composed of all even numbered scattered lines. So interlaced subframes in a video frame is fields. So rendering fields improves the smoothness of fast moving objects when viewed on the interlaced video formats. Then comes the flat shading. There are mainly three types of shading: flat, groove, and uniform shading. So flat shading is lighting technique which is used in 3D computer graphics. So it is actually a lighting technique used in 3D computer graphics. It shades each polygon of an object based on the angle between the polygon surface normal and the direction of the light source. So if this is the face and this is the normal. So depending upon the polygon surface normal and the direction of light, this is the light source, depending upon the angle, it shades. So their respective colors and the intensity of the light source, they are given to the face. So this is a rendering method which does not smooth any edges among faces, resulting in a faceted look. Also known as a constant shading. This is called constant shading. So the normal is computed and all the other say area or region of that face is shaded depending upon the color which is computed here. What is a frame buffer? Frame buffer, also we know it as frame store. So frame buffer or frame store is a portion of RAM. So it's a portion of RAM, that is random access memory, containing a bitmap that is used to refresh a video display from a memory buffer containing complete frame of data. So it's like you can say this is your display device. So the images come here and then it goes to the display. This is, you can understand, to be a frame buffer. It's actually a portion of RAM which contains the bitmap that is used to refresh a video display from a memory buffer. So frame buffer is a large contiguous piece of computer memory, and as I said, it is a portion of RAM. So at a minimum there is one memory bit for each pixel in the raster. This amount of memory is called a bit plane, and the picture is built up in this frame buffer one bit at a time. And you know that this frame buffer is a digital device, and the CRT is a analog device. So the portion of computer or peripheral memory that stores an image so it can be displayed or recorded onto another medium like an analog film is the frame buffer. What is a fractal? What do you mean by a fractal? A curve or geometric figure, each part of which has same statistical character as the whole. So they are useful in modeling structures such as snowflakes. They are useful in modeling structure in which similar patterns recur at progressively smaller scales, and in describing partly random or chaotic phenomena such as crystal growth and galaxy formation. A mathematical object that exists between dimensions is fractal, and the most famous is Mandelbrot set, which can be represented as a flat image. However, its boundary has infinite detail, so it is possible to zoom infinitely deep into the image. So for this reason, this is considered to be a 2.5D object. Let me go back to this again so that you may understand it better. Fractal is a curve or geometric figure, each part of which has the same statistical structure as the whole. So they are actually useful for modeling structures in which the similar patterns recur at progressively smaller scale and describing partly random and chaotic phenomena such as crystal growth and galaxy formation. These are fractals. So fractal algorithms are widely used in computer graphics to simulate complex patterns such as those found in natural phenomena. For example, here realistic mountains can be generated using fractal values mapped to elevation. Simulated clouds and other volumetric effects are commonly generated with fractal algorithms. And these algorithms are iterative, meaning they can be calculated repeatedly to achieve higher level of details. Then what is a function curve? Function curve, a two-dimensional graphic representation of animation data. Two-dimensional graphic representation of animation data is function curve. So the value of a single parameter or attribute is displayed in the vertical dimension. The value of the single parameter or attribute is displayed in the vertical direction dimension of the graph, and the time is displayed in the horizontal dimension. The slope of the graph indicates the rate of change in the parameter, and steep curve indicate fast changes or motion, and shallow curve indicates slow change, and the flat horizontal line indicate no change. Sometimes this is abbreviated as F curve also, function curve. What is gamma? You might have heard about this. The contrast curve of a recorded image. If you increase the gamma of an image, it makes it appear brighter, means more washed out. Decreasing the gamma makes the image darker, muddier. So gamma correction you might have seen for displays is applied in many stages in image creation process. So the contrast curve of a recorded image. So gamma is an important but seldom understood characteristic of virtually all digital imaging systems. What is global illumination? Global illumination. Global illumination is a method that models how light is bounced off a surface onto another surface. That is, a direct light to indirect light, rather than being limited to just light that hits a surface nearby directly from a light source, that is direct light. So global illumination is the name of a process that simulates indirect lighting, like light bouncing and color bleeding. A rendering volume that attempts to simulate the transfer of light among surfaces. There can be one more surface in a simulated environment, and comparison to local environment illumination, in which there is no calculation of bounce light reflections or refractions. What is HDRI? What do you mean by HDRI? This is acronym for High Dynamic Range Imaging. HDRI provides a more realistic simulation of lighting than previous techniques. HDRI, more realistic simulation of lighting than the previous technique, and it stores a much wider range of values to describe the brightness of pixels. Standard bitmap images can typically reproduce a contrast ratio of say about 1000 to 1. HDR images can reproduce the full range of real-world light intensities or contrast ratio in the range of 100,000 to 1. What do you mean by hierarchy? What is hierarchy? The structure of linkages among objects necessary for animation of system with moving parts such as characters and vehicles. So also known as parenting, linking, and forward kinematics hierarchy. In a standard animation hierarchy, child objects inherit transform information from their parents. An object may have many children but can have only one parent. What is interlay scan? What do you mean by interlay scan? So interlay scan is a display signal type in which one half of the horizontal pixel rows are refreshed in one cycle and other half in the next, meaning that two complete scans are required to display the screen image. So this, you can see I somewhere in a TV signal specification such as 1080I. This stands for interlay scanning. So interlay scan is a display signal type in which one half of the horizontal pixel rows are refreshed in one cycle and the other half, meaning the two complete scans in the next. So two complete scans are required to display the screen image. So a video display mode which uses alternate fields to create the image, and for each video frame, odd numbered scan lines are drawn. For each video frame, odd numbered scan lines are drawn, followed by even numbered scan lines. NTSC video is interlaced, and most computer monitors are not. Interpolation. What do you mean by interpolation? What is interpolation? In the mathematical field of numerical analysis, interpolation is a method of constructing new data points within the range of certain discrete set of known points. So these are known points and these points are computed. So calculation of values between known values is interpolation, and in general sense to extrapolate is to infer something that is not explicitly stated from existing information. So interpolation is an estimation of value within two known values in a sequence of values. So polynomial interpolation is a method of estimating values between known data points. Interpolation is a statistical method by which related known value are used to estimate an unknown price. By which related known value are used to estimate an unknown price or a potential yield of security, etc. For example, a smooth curve can be described using just a few control vertices. Then we have inverse kinematics. What do you mean by inverse kinematics? An intuitive alternative to standard hierarchical animation. An intuitive alternative to standard hierarchical animation. The position and the orientation of parent objects are calculated from the position of the last child and end effector. So the final position of the hierarchy is called as IK solution. Keyframe. What is keyframe? In media production, A keyframe is a location on a timeline which marks the beginning or end of a transition. Right? It holds special information that defines where a transition should start or stop. So the intermediate frames are interpolated over time between those definitions to create an illusion of motion. Again, a keyframe is in animation filmmaking is drawing that defines the starting and ending points of any smooth transition. Some transition there, so starting and end point. These are drawings. The drawings are called frames because their position in time is measured in frames on a strip of film. In computer animation, a user-defined value for a parameter at a certain point in time. In computer animation, a user-defined value for a parameter at a certain point of time. And the animator sets keyframe at significant moments, and the computer software fills in all the in-between values using interpolation. What is a map? What do we mean by map? In 3D graphics, a map is an image used within a material. So the purpose of map is to vary some material attribute across the surface. So for example, a texture map alters the color of an object, and a bump map simulates the roughness. And 2D map, including all bitmaps, require mapping coordinates which tell the renderer how to project the map onto the 3D object. And 3D procedural texture do not require mapping coordinates because they are volumetric. Now what is material? What do you mean by material? The surface property of an object such as color, reflectivity and opacity. These are material. Sometimes known as shader also. Mesh. What do you mean by mesh? A 3D object composed of triangular faces. So 3D object composed of these triangular faces. The mesh object has no true curvature. The appearance of curvature is achieved by increasing the number of faces. That is the level of detail, and by edge smoothing during render runtime. So we have just seen a few more questions on 3D graphics, and we'll be taking more of these shortly. Thank you so much. Take care.